Every year, every month, every Monday. A familiar ritual. This time I change. You feel it in your bones, the clean fire of resolve. But then you wake up and it feels different. The fire that burned yesterday, gone, extinguished, silent. The plans you made, the promises whispered to yourself under last night's moon, they dissolve like mist under the indifferent sun. Why does this happen? Why can't we stay consistent? Why are we strangers to the very selves we swore to become? You felt it. We all have. That sudden burst of inspiration, that clean, intoxicating clarity, determined, this is it. This time I change. A morning run, a flawless to-do list, a bold step toward your dream. Then a day passes, too. Maybe a week. Disappointed suddenly is someone else, someone slower, heavier, less willing, less certain. The future you dreamed feels far away, owned by another version of you, a ghost. And here's the brutal truth no one told you. It's not your fault, not laziness, not weakness, not failure. The system was rigged from the start. The modern world loves a false god. Its name is motivation. Instagram mantras whisper, stay motivated. Discipline equals freedom. But motivation is a vapor, a dopamine hallucination, a glitch in the neural firmware. It feels real, it feels eternal, until it isn't. You cannot build an empire on sand. Neuroscience knows this. Behavioral psychology has shown it. The human brain, an ancient machine trapped in a futuristic world. A device optimized for survival, not self-actualization, not designed for dreams. It craves comfort. It hoards energy. It seeks short-term rewards. Scroll instead of study. Netflix over fitness. Comfort food instead of discomfort growth. Not because you are broken, but because your brain runs code written 50,000 years ago. Temporal discounting. A fancy name for betrayal. Your brain weighs today's pleasure heavier than tomorrow's freedom. It's why the voice says, I'll start Monday, then whispers Monday, next week feels better. An infinite loop, an invisible prison. But here's the awakening moment. The glitch in the matrix, the crack in the glass, the problem was never motivation. Motivation is not the engine. It's the exhaust. A byproduct of action, not the cause. So, what if the real problem is not that you're inconsistent, but that you're trying to act inconsistent with the identity you still believe yourself to be? Let me say it plainly, you don't have a consistency problem, you have an identity problem. Pause, let that breathe. Every action, every choice is a vote. A vote for the kind of person you believe yourself to be. When you, I'm just not disciplined, the mind obeys. When you declare, I never finish things, the subconscious listens. When you believe, I'm the type of person who always procrastinates, you are. Not because it's true, but because the mind seeks congruence over progress. Identity is gravity. No matter how high motivation lifts you, you will always fall back down to the ground of who you believe you are. Look around. The future's accelerating. AI writing sonnets, cars driving themselves, genetic code editable like text files. And yet, with all this progress, humans still battle the same ancient war. Not against machines, not against time, but against the oldest enemy of all, the outdated story of self. But what if you could rewrite that story? What if the real unlock for consistency, for discipline, focus, momentum, is not in hacks, habits, or hustle, but in becoming someone for whom those behaviors are simply normal? Not forcing yourself to go to the gym, simply being the kind of person who never misses. Not pushing yourself to write, simply being a writer. Not fighting procrastination, just being the type of person who finishes things. We become what we think about. The sages knew it. The neuroscientists now confirm it. This isn't self-help. This is firmware upgrade. This is human OS 2.0. So the question is not, how do I stay motivated? The real question is, who do I need to become? So this is simply what I do. The future belongs to those who master identity. Because when identity shifts, consistency is no longer effort. It's inevitable. Shall we go deeper? Let me show you why motivation will always fail and what comes next. Motivation, a seductive liar. It feels real, it feels powerful, but it's vapor, ephemeral, elusive, gone when you need it most. Neuroscience has no illusions, it knows the truth. Motivation isn't a fuel, it's a chemical flicker, a dopamine pulse, a reward spike, a temporary hallucination, fueled by novelty, not commitment. Day one feels effortless, the rush of new, the brain surges. This is who I'll be now. But novelty decays fast. Dopamine fades, cortisol rises, friction creeps in, suddenly the run feels hard, the cold shower stings, the book feels heavy. What felt like destiny now feels like drudgery. Why? Because your brain wasn't designed for achievement, it was designed for survival. Survival favors efficiency. Efficiency favors familiarity. Familiar equals safe, even if familiar is failure. This is why change feels wrong. Your brain whispers, why waste energy? Stay, rest, scroll, eat, delay. Comfort isn't laziness. It's an evolutionary safeguard. Let's enter the villain, temporal discounting. The human flaw coded deep in our firmware. A future reward? Fuzzy, distant, imaginary. A present pleasure? Vivid, real, immediate. Skip the gym, Netflix feels better. Delay the project, dopamine's on TikTok now. Eat the cookie, the salad feels like suffering. Rational? No. Biological? Absolutely. Your brain is an ancient device trying to navigate a hyper-stimulated world. And here's the cruel joke, the more urgent the goal, the more unreliable motivation becomes. Motivation is an unreliable friend. Shows up on day one, ghosts you on day three. Ever notice? When things get hard, when it actually matters, motivation vanishes. And then the inner dialogue begins. What's wrong with me? Why can't I stay disciplined? Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. But it's not you, it's not failure, it's the design flaw baked into the human operating system. Psychologist B.J. Fogg put it plainly. Motivation is unreliable. It fluctuates wildly based on mood, environment, hormones, sleep, even the weather. Yet the world still sells you the myth. Motivational speeches, hustle porn, grind culture, all promising if you just want it bad enough, you'll do it. Lie. A beautiful, dangerous lie. Because willpower is a finite resource, and discipline without identity is a constant fight against gravity. Think of a spaceship. Motivation is like a burst of fuel on the launch pad. Powerful, necessary, but temporary. If you rely only on thrusters, you burn out long before you leave orbit. What if instead you built gravity around your goals, a new orbit, a self-sustaining force? That's what identity does. It's not fuel, it's gravity. It doesn't push you forward, it pulls you, automatically, inevitably. When motivation dies, identity remains. Consider this. The athlete doesn't need motivation to train. They are an athlete. Training is normal. The writer doesn't wait for inspiration. They are a writer. Writing is what they do. The disciplined person doesn't force discipline. They simply are that person. The behavior is not an act. It's an echo, a reflection of who they've decided to be. This is why motivation-based living always collapses. It's a bridge with no foundation. But identity-based living, solid, permanent. A bridge made of bedrock. Here's the uncomfortable realization. If you struggled with consistency, it's not because you didn't want it badly enough, it's because the behavior you wanted was out of sync with the person you still believed you were. The mind doesn't tolerate incongruence. When your identity says, I'm a procrastinator, and your behavior tries to be productive, cognitive dissonance triggers sabotage. This isn't failure, it's physics. Identity is gravity. Behavior orbits identity. So the fix isn't to chase more motivation, it's to step into a new identity where the actions you once had to force become the actions that feel like home, and that changes everything. So the real question becomes, if you are not the same person every day, if the you who makes plans is not always the you who shows up, who exactly are you? Welcome to the real war, the war of identity. There's a secret about you, a hidden glitch. You are not who you think you are. Not consistently, not reliably, not predictably. The self shifts subtly, invisibly, moment to moment. The you who makes bold plans is not the same you who wakes up tomorrow to execute them. This is the real enemy, the silent saboteur, the identity trap. You assumed you were one person, a stable self, a single continuous character navigating time, a dangerous illusion. In truth, you are a relay team, a shifting collection of selves, passing the baton of your life one day to the next. One morning, the version of you wakes up focused, disciplined, hungry for growth. You stretch, hydrate, hustle, a player spawned with high stats. But the next day, another version spawns, distracted, tired, irritable. Suddenly the gym feels heavy, the task list feels cruel, and yet we expect every version of ourselves to think the same, to care the same, to fight the same fight. That expectation is the birthplace of failure. It's not that you can't stay consistent. It's that you expect 1,000 different versions of yourself to behave like one. Pause. Breathe. Let that land. Imagine it. Life is a game, but here's the twist. You only get to play for 5 minutes. Then someone else logs in, a different player, a different mindset, a different mood. If the player before you grinds, focuses, builds, you spawn into progress. If the player before you procrastinates, avoids, you spawn into chaos. Life becomes a relay race between strangers wearing your face. This is why consistency feels impossible, because every version of you inherits the world left behind by yesterday's player. The science agrees. Psychologists call it identity inconsistency, a fractured sense of self, shifting between roles, moods, and contexts. Research shows those with fractured identities suffer more stress, less well-being, more depression, more chaos. But those who cultivate identity coherence, alignment between who they are across days, across roles, across moments, they flourish. Not because their lives are easier, but because the inner operating system stopped glitching. The brain craves coherence. It seeks to reduce the pain of cognitive dissonance. When the mind whispers, "I'm a disciplined person," the body follows. When the mind believes, "I'm chaotic, lazy, inconsistent," the body obeys that too. The laws are simple. Identity dictates behavior. Behavior accumulates into environment. Environment loops back to reinforce identity. It's a feedback loop, an algorithm. One either spirals into mastery or crashes into entropy. And the cruelest part, the loop doesn't care whether it's serving you or destroying you. It just runs. Here's where the visionary future whispers in. What happens when humanity learns to hack identity like we hack code? Imagine a world where identity isn't random, where you design it, consciously, deliberately. Neuroplasticity confirms it. The brain rewires itself based on thought, repetition, and belief. Identity is programmable. But few do it. Most leave it to chance, letting environment, childhood, society shape their identity like wet clay without permission. I'm just not a morning person. A code written by a lazy Sunday at age 12. I'm bad with money, a bug left from watching stressed parents argue about bills. I can't stay disciplined, a virus installed by years of failed starts and broken promises. None of it was true until you believed it and made it real. Here's the brutal awakening. The past version of you has been writing the code for your future self. If yesterday's you left a mess, today's you wakes up drowning. If yesterday's you made progress, today's you inherits momentum. And so the real game of consistency is not about perfect discipline. It's about stewardship. It's about asking, what kind of life am I handing off to the me who wakes up tomorrow? The ancients called this ignorance of self avidya, a blindness to the nature of being. Suffering, they taught, is the consequence of not knowing who you are. Modern psychology calls it identity incoherence. Same truth, different language. The cost is always the same. A chaotic mind, an unpredictable life, a perpetual restart loop. But there is a way out, a lever buried deep in the machine, and once you pull it, the game changes permanently. Because the secret isn't more effort, it isn't more hustle. It's the shift from asking, what do I need to do, to asking, who do I need to become? Because once you become, the doing becomes inevitable. Let's unlock that now. Welcome to the shift. the transition from behavior-based living to identity-based existence. You've tried the habits, the routines, the productivity hacks, and still it slips, it fades. Because the old approach was flawed from the beginning, it taught you to change behavior without changing the one performing the behavior. The formula was backwards: do more, get more, then be more. A lie. The real formula? Be first, then do, then have. Identity drives behavior, not the other way around. This is not motivation, not discipline, not grind. This is internal gravity. Identity is not what you want. It's not a goal. Identity is what feels normal. When running is normal, you don't need motivation to run. When writing is who you are, you don't wait for inspiration. When discipline is encoded, you act without negotiation. This is the shift, the great unlock. From the brittle, exhausting world of behavior-based living to the elegant, automatic flow of identity-based existence. Think of it this way. The world runs on operating systems. iOS, Android, AI models, blockchain protocols. Every system needs an OS. So do you. When your operating system says, "I am a procrastinator," every app you install, every habit you try, crashes. It's incompatible. When the OS says, "I am a disciplined person," every action toward growth runs smoothly, seamlessly. This isn't fantasy, it's biology, it's cognitive science, it's how the brain protects itself from chaos. Identity seeks congruence. If the behavior matches the identity, it feels natural. If the behavior clashes, self-sabotage activates. Ever wonder why you self-sabotage right at the edge of breakthrough? It's not fear of success. It's the mind rejecting the foreign. This isn't me. Back to baseline. So the question becomes, how do you change what feels normal? James Clear said it best. Every action is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Not a vote for a goal. A vote for identity. Forget "I want to lose 20 pounds. It's brittle." Install "I am the kind of person who doesn't miss workouts." Forget "I want to write a book." Install "I am a writer." Forget "I want to save more money." Install "I am the type of person who respects wealth." Behavior without identity is labor. Behavior with identity is flow. Earl Nightingale said it decades ago, "We become what we think about." The sage's echo, the scientist's confirmation, the truth beneath all achievement. Identity is the invisible architecture of reality. In the future, this will be codified. Neuro-identity programming, AI-assisted behavior modeling, wearable tech syncing self-talk to biometric feedback, humans upgrading self like software. But you don't have to wait for the future. The tools are ancient. The tools are timeless. Thought, belief, repetition. Identity is written, one small action at a time. You don't become a fit person when you lose 50 pounds. You become a fit person the moment you pick up your shoes and step outside, even for 1 minute, and declare, "This is who I am now." You don't become a writer when you publish. You become one the moment you write a single sentence and choose to believe, "This is what I do." Every small action is a line of code rewriting the program. When you do it once, you cast a vote. When you do it twice, you strengthen the signal. When you do it 10 times, you hardwire the identity. Behavior becomes identity. Identity sustains behavior. A loop, a flywheel, a feedback engine. This is how consistency becomes effortless. Not because you're forcing it, but because the you who requires forcing no longer exists. The old you, retired, deleted from the code base. The new you, online, active, operational. So pause now and ask, who do I need to become so that my goals are simply what I do? Because once you become, the doing takes care of itself. Let's make this practical, tangible, executable. There are 3 rules, 3 identity algorithms that lock this into reality. And once you master them, consistency isn't a struggle, it's inevitable. Identity without action is theory. Action without identity is suffering. Merge the two, and you become unstoppable. There are 3 rules, not hacks, not tricks, laws, fundamental, undeniable, predictive. These rules turn identity from wishful thinking into embodied reality. Rule 1, reduce friction. The brain chooses easy, always. When change feels heavy, it dies.
So make the right action the easiest possible action. Want to become fit? Lay out the shoes, sleep in the workout clothes. Want to become a reader? Put the book on the pillow. Delete the social apps. Want to eat clean? Stock the fridge with fuel. Remove the poison. Environment is destiny. In the future, homes will be intelligent, habit-shaping ecosystems, AI kitchens removing junk, smart mirrors nudging posture, ambient displays whispering, is this choice aligned or sabotage? But you don't need the future. Friction is programmable now. Make good habits frictionless. Make bad habits expensive. The brain will always choose the path of least resistance. You decide which path that is.
Rule 2, the 2-minute rule. Massive change begins embarrassingly small. The gym doesn't begin with an hour, it begins with shoes on. The novel doesn't start with a chapter, it starts with one sentence. Why? Because starting changes identity. A body at rest wants to stay at rest, but a body in motion, it tends to stay in motion. The 2-minute version bypasses resistance. Too tired to work out? Stretch for 2 minutes. Most days, you'll keep going. Too foggy to write? Open the doc. Write one line. Momentum takes the wheel. This isn't laziness, it's physics. It's neural engineering. Every small start sends a signal. This is who I am now. Tiny wins become identity proof. In the future, expect neurofeedback headbands rewarding micro-habits with real-time dopamine hits, gamified identity construction. But until then, 2 minutes is enough. Rule 3. Reward the identity. You cannot rely on future rewards alone. The brain is not wired to sacrifice today for a benefit 6 months away, but if today feels rewarding, you repeat. The gym hurts, but the post-workout dopamine hit, glorious. The writing is tedious, but the coffee afterward, bliss. The focus feels heavy, but the playlist you gift yourself after is freedom. Reward the behavior, reward the identity. Not with junk, not with sabotage, with cues that tell the brain, when I act like this, I win. Your mind craves wins. It craves feedback. Starve it and the habit dies. Feed it and the identity locks in. This is how the mind works. It's a reinforcement engine, a loop. In the coming future, expect wearable dopamine regulators, tech that rewards attention, focus, discipline, digital systems helping humans override ancient biology. But you don't have to wait. Celebrate. Smile. Say, I did what the person I want to be does. Then give yourself something simple, a walk, a song, a deep breath, a great coffee. The more you reward identity-consistent action, the more permanent it becomes. Behavior rewires the brain. Reward seals it in. Here's the full loop. Make the right action easy. Make the start small. Make the reward immediate. Do this, and the identity compounds. From one workout to being a person who trains. From one page to being a writer. From one focused task to being the most reliable person in any room. Identity doesn't change with declarations. It changes with evidence. Stack the evidence, relentlessly, patiently. The world won't recognize it until it has no choice. By then, you won't even be thinking about consistency anymore. It will simply be who you are. And here's the truth few will ever tell you. Once you change identity, you never need to fight for consistency again because the fight was only ever against the gravity of who you used to believe you were. So now the path is clear. The only question left is simple. Will you choose to become the version of you that your future is waiting for? Let's close this. A final reflection, a final challenge. Pause. Breathe. Look around. This is the moment. You've seen the lie, the glitch in the system. It was never about motivation, never about willpower. It was always about identity, a silent force guiding every action, every success, every failure. The truth is simple, and it's brutal. You will never outperform the identity you believe is yours. But you can rewrite it at any time, starting today, starting now. Not by shouting affirmations, not by hoping, but by proving,
by casting votes, by showing up again and again as the person you choose to become. Every choice, every small act, every time you take one step when the old self whispers to stay still, you are writing new code. The gym isn't a workout. It's a declaration. I am someone who moves. The journal isn't just writing, it's a signal. I am someone who reflects. The smallest task, done when you don't feel like it, becomes the most powerful evidence in the universe. Because nothing rewires the future like identity in motion. So the question is not, can I stay consistent? That's obsolete. The real question is, who does my future depend on me becoming? Imagine it. A version of you, strong, disciplined, unstoppable, already exists. They're waiting. In the next day, in the next month, in the next year, waiting for you to build them into reality. And it starts simple, not by doing everything, not by being perfect, but by making one decision. I will hand the next version of me a better life than the one I woke up with today.
That's it. Do that. Repeat, refine, evolve, and one day you'll look back. The person who struggled to stay consistent, a memory, a ghost, a former version. You'll realize you don't try to be disciplined anymore. You simply are. You don't force focus. It's your default. You don't chase success. It's magnetized to you. Because the ultimate truth is this. Success isn't something you pursue. It's something you attract by becoming the person who deserves it. So I ask you now, right here, right now, what is one thing you can do today to make life easier for the future you? One choice, one shift, one vote for the identity you are ready to own. Comment below, declare it, make it real, not for me, for the future you who will thank you. And remember, we become what we think about. The oldest secret, the greatest discovery, still true, forever true. This isn't the end. This is the handoff. The baton is in your hands. Now run.